Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row. Danny Barrett wins on debut.
After returns to winning ways to WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the...
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR, the Legacy Division, or World, as it's quite rightly known nowadays. I am joined, thankfully, once again, by Callum. I feel like both WOR Tier 1 and World Division at the moment, there's been a little bit of a change up, and not only because of Callum not being here, but I wasn't here for a little while in a few races as well. But anyway, enough about me, enough about that. Callum, welcome along, and I hope you're looking forward to this one around the Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I am certainly looking forward to it tonight. We've been off for a while. It was a break week in World last week, and personally I've not been commentating, but we've now got 4 rounds left in this season, so we're certainly on the home stretch now. FR8, they're not too far away from winning this Constructors. It can't be won tonight, but things are all nearly wrapped up. Otis Lawrence obviously winning that Drivers a couple of weeks ago as well, so yeah, things are a bit more open in terms of there's not too much to play for now. So yeah, it should be a good race tonight around the Circuit of the Americas. A cracking track for it as well, so yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to this one.
And let's have a look at that points gap anyway. It's 99 points between FRA and PSR. That is quite an insurmountable gap between the two, if I don't say so myself. I think it's going to be very, very hard to beat there. But there's some really interesting battles in between further down as well. You've got Visceral and Shazoo battling away for 3rd place, and that's quite an interesting one. I think there's only 36 points between the two of them. With 4 rounds remaining, it can, well, swing either way, especially with the likes of someone like LCR Leopard as a driver for Shazoo. He can really bring some good points to them tonight, can't he?
Yeah, he certainly can, and he always does. He's been really the main man for that team all season. Leopard, he's been very, very impressive, and certainly he's definitely the man that Shazoo look out toward, and really is the reason that they are in 4th in the standings. The second driver for Shazoo basically all season has never really been there. I remember at Silverstone, Piccolo, it was very impressive. I think he finished 4th or 5th there, but other than that, really it's just been Leopard flying the flag for Shazoo. So yeah, he's been fantastic this season, and certainly nearly enough single-handedly has dragged Shazoo into this 3rd place fight in the championship standings. It's
a really, really good one there, and it's looking a little bit great. We'll wait a little bit longer to go onto the main screen so you can see some of the guys, some of the action in there as well. But Velox then still in 5th place. False Group Esports in 6th there with 46 points. They've really had a resurgence since coming into this league. And Bunga, or BRT, had well, they had such a chance last time out before the break week at Mexico, I believe it was. And it just all went wrong for them. Unfortunately, getting no points, and still on the same amount of points as WOR, who left quite early on.
Yes, it was a shame for them. I've not actually seen that one, so I'm just going to take your word for it. But Yeah, it's been interesting for Bungie Racing team. They have scored pretty decent points all season, but when you compare it to the fact they're in the same amount of points as WOR, who only raced the first 2 seasons, it doesn't look as impressive. But they'll be looking to try and bounce back. As they said, there's not too much to play for down in that region, but the bragging rights are always quite important. So they'll be looking final 4 rounds of the season to try and get some good results out of it all. So yeah, it'll be good to see what they can try and do. They've got BRT Meat Burrow and BRT Justin, who I think is 7 a qualifying band tonight, so they too, we hope to try and do well for that Bungie Racing team in the McLaren.
Now we've got the first car really out on track, and that is Ant's Maz, I think. I'm just gonna call him Ant because it's easier. In the AlphaTauri for ERL, let's see what they can do. Need a little bit of luck on their side. Is that Otis Lawrence? It is. Flying past him, maybe on a set of intermediate tyres. This is going to be interesting. What can Otis Lawrence do on a set of intermediates compared to everyone else on a set of soft tyres?
Might make it an interesting race if we went in intermediates. But yeah, that's an interesting one from Otis, obviously just trying to get a little side to the lap in there. ERL Ansmas, I just want to have a little word about him. That's a name, personally, I've not seen for a long time. I remember him League Racing though. Back in the day, I say back in the day, maybe 2018, 2019, and he was very, very fast and definitely up there, tier 1 pace, without a doubt. So yeah, it's good to see that name back. Certainly not a man, a name I've seen in a long time. So he'll be looking to try and do good for ERL tonight. ERL not really had a season to remember, down in P9 in the standings, only 28 points to their name, and they've not scored any points. I think that is since Silverstone. So a little bit of a drought at the moment in terms of scoring points, and they'll be looking to try and rectify that tonight. And the ERL Ansmas, on his debut, he'll be looking to try and rectify that as well.
Now, it seems like he's got a little bit of a following. Jack Taylor in the chat says it looks like he's happy that he's back as well. So let's see what he can do. It's a name that's not been seen. I think you mentioned 2018 and Jack's mentioned 2019, so it's been a little while, but he has invalidated this lap early doors through the Mackett's and Beckett's copy, and I think Otis Lawrence has done exactly the same thing. Interestingly to see, Matthew has signed for NZR, which or Novus Racing. That's interesting.
Yeah, do you know what? I've actually just noticed that. I didn't realise that was the same Matthew that it was at FRA earlier on the season. So wow, that's an interesting one indeed from Matthew. But it's good for us as well because it gives him a great opportunity to try and shine at a different team. But then it also means as well for FRA, Peasty now gets a chance to try and shine. Otis Lawrence obviously will be racing. But yeah, Matthew, wow, I did not see that one coming. So he'll be looking to try and make some sort of an input for his new team. Now, I'm not too sure if this is his first time he's raced. Maybe he's been there for a little while now and I'm just catching up. But Novus Racing team, they've not had the best of seasons, down in P10 in the standings. So a driver of Matthew's calibre, I should say, yeah, that's certainly a great addition for them, and definitely a man who could certainly try and get him up a good few places in those standings.
Definitely, yeah, Matthew, I think I've mentioned in Tier 1 of WR as well as a few times throughout the season that he's the nearly man and the unlucky man because he never seems to catch a break. But around this long right-hander bank he comes, and you know what? He's going to be the first driver to set a lap time on, and it's going to be on a set of intermediates. He's going to be the man to beat this early in this early doors.
Yeah, he certainly will. Beats a 38-1 as the time from MVR Matthew on the intermediate. It's not bad at all. And that is that time. Quite a few guys out on the intermediates at the moment. A few guys as well just roundabout on the laps on soft. So we just keep an eye on everyone at the moment. But interesting to see a lot of drivers out on the intermediates. Obviously not wanting to go out in those softs early on, not wanting to try and scrub a set. And yeah, it kind of means the first couple of minutes of this session have been pretty stale.
Unfortunately, you are right. It's a little bit of a waiting game for getting people to go. We have got Kevar coming through the final bit now. He's not invalidated, so he will take provisional pole away from Matthew in a moment's time. We do have FGE Halo as well. Be interesting to see what he can do. A 34.6 for him. And just to note as well, there is Halo, and he's spun at the right-hander of 16, 17 and 18 there. That's not ideal for him. But yeah, just a note, Matthew's 138 is probably still quicker than me if I went around this track. So that's just puts it into perspective there. Yeah, it's still a little bit slow, but it could be because these guys don't really want to waste the soft tyres this early doors, do they?
No, they probably don't. I think when the track gets so much quicker like it does in full qualifying, then there's no point going out with 18 minutes left because, 16, 15 minutes later, the track's just going to be that bit quicker. So, yeah, it does kind of leave us with pretty dry viewing at the start of these sessions. However, 12 minutes left on the clock. I think we've got a few drivers now out on the soft compound tyres. Antsmaz, I think, has he just finished a lap? I think it looks like he has. He's set at 34.8. He's went second provisionally in ERL 1-2. Not too much competition for the two guys, but they'll take every win they can. So good stuff early on for the two ERL drivers.
FGE does have another driver going across, and Andrea really struggling to stay inside the lobby at the moment. That's the second or maybe third time they've dropped out of the lobby. But Pat Ledger is coming through this Maggots and Beckett's copy, which I don't like as much as actual Maggots and Beckett's, because it's like an invert of Maggots and Beckett's, and it just doesn't seem to flow as nicely as he's come through there. Provisional purple sector 1. Be really interesting to see how he can continue this on, and as I say that, he's invalidated, so very interesting indeed.
Yeah, it certainly is. That first sector is really catching out quite a few drivers. The reverse on Maggots and Beckett's, as you say. I think it's quite an interesting part of the track. And it's certainly a big challenge for these drivers because I think the invalidations are really there. You can ride the curbs pretty easily. And for some of those corners, it just means just an inch too early or an inch too late in the turn, and you can completely mess up your lap. So it's a really unique challenge for these drivers, that first sector. And it just really kind of proved who's the best at this track because there's so much time to be won and lost in there, and I think that was a great example with Pat Liger there. He went purple and then just a couple seconds later invalidates it, so he'll be looking to try and go again because he currently sits in P18 with no lap time to his name.
Just over 10 minutes to go, then we're going to start seeing drivers come through quite thick and fast. BRT Meatball is on his lap. He's just about to start, missing the exit really of turn 1. That wasn't as wide out as he could have gone, but let's see what he can do through turns 3 to 7. See if he can keep it nice and tight. It is quite nice and tight there through turn 6, and he's looking pretty quick. I think quicker in sector 1 that Pat Leisure as well. He's gone a little, he's taken as much of the curb out of the exit of turn number 9, and this is exactly what he needs to do to get BRT quite high up this grid today.
Yeah, as it's an early lap time would do him the world of good if they can try and set a lap time that gets him in the mixer, then he'll be certainly through into the next qualifying round. Something that's worth pointing out, only 19 drivers today, 3 of them 7 qualifying bands, meaning it is normally, well, as always, 15 drivers that progress through to qualifying 2. When we've got one missing, 3 going out, that means only 1 driver that's setting a lap time here will all go out of qualifying 1, so it's a big opportunity here for some of these drivers that don't normally find themselves in qualifying 2 to try and make that progression. So some real opportunity here for some of these drivers.
Meatball coming through 16, 17 and 18. Much down as he could have wanted. Pressure, on the accelerator through there. Not taking as much as the exit of turn 19 as we've seen some of the others already. But across the line for the McLaren driver, and it's provisionally P1 by quite a way from the ERL guys. So times are going to start coming thick and fast now. Let's see what Matthew can do as Halo splits the two ERL guys. Matthew is definitely going to be one to watch this early door.
Yeah, certainly will be. Obviously not that much of a representative lap time there. Just looking at Pat Leger now. He's coming around the final corner, walking these set for the Aston Martin team. Comes across line, and it's P3. Not too bad there at 1:34.6 to his name.
So the Haas of Amin as well is just about to start a lap time. Matthew, though, very, very smooth as he comes through the S section. He's up on his lap time in sector 1. It's exactly what he needs to do. Where is Otis Lawrence on track, though? I think he's just started a lap time. So that is definitely the one to watch with Sav Pisti. And you know what? Choco usually gives us a good qualifying lap as well. And Wilson down in 18th currently as well. So plenty of names, like you've mentioned before, and quite rightly, yet to set a lap time. And with only one driver dropping out of Q3 today, it's very, very interesting to see who that man would be.
Yeah, it certainly is. And there you have it, 1:32.5 from Otis Lawrence. What a lap time that is, completely clear of the rest of the grid, really just showing how dominant, how quick he is on this Xbox field. So very impressive stuff there, as always, from Otis Lawrence early doors.
Yeah, absolutely. 1.3. That is insane from the man who is destroying this platform in a good sense right now. Just showing how good he is. But Matthew coming across the line. It's P2 for him. Half a tenth away from half a second away. Sorry, not half a tenth away from Otis Lawrence, but still, a class above everyone else at the moment. Is that Sav on a lap time? Let's see what he can do. As he's just about to finish a lap time. It's looking like he's quick at the moment, but I don't think it's going to be quick enough to challenge Otis Lawrence.
Not too bad then, though. 33.5. I'm sure he'll be happy with that one. Matthews L and P2. Those guys settle in pretty nicely. Just looking, PSR Wilson coming to the end of his lap. No lap time to his name at the moment, so he'll be looking to just try and get a solid lap on the board. Out the final corner he goes now, across the line. He now goes P3 at 1 minute 33.2. Very nice off there from Wilson.
I think Choco's invalidated, so he's got to go again. I think that's Leopard. No, it's his Leopard's teammate, so Piccolo coming through, and he's put himself P5. That's a respectable lap time for the Shazoo Racing driver. Here comes Akos across the line. It's P6 as well. So the times, where's Amin going to go? Or has he invalidated? I think Amin might have invalidated that lap time, his previous one, so he's just about to start another lap time, which is worrying for him. Where is Leopard on track? He's just finished the back straight there, and if the game is to be believed, he's purple in sector 2. It would be great to see Leopard do have a good qualifying for once.
Yeah, it certainly would be probably one of his few flaws, would be qualifying. You know, I think sometimes he does himself, I think he gives himself a harder job to do, I should probably say, than he needs. I think sometimes he's finding himself far too far down the grid, and what he would want, he's got the pace to be up there getting podiums week in, week out, but sometimes that qualifying just lets him down. Let's see what he sets here. They'll come the cross line. It's P6, I'm at 33.6, but interestingly, not beating his teammate Piccolo, who sets a pretty nice time there. A 0.5 is now in P5, so it's a Red Bull 5.6 as it stands.
It's not bad for those either, and Wilson and Sav holding the second row of the grid as well. Very interesting there. Here comes Pisty across the line, and it's a Mercedes 1-2 right now. What can Amin do? Choco in a little bit of trouble just ahead of him as well. He's not invalidated this time, but he's got to make sure he gets this lap in and get himself up into, well, just above P15 really, and across the line for him, it's P7 for Choco. He's very quick on one lap.
Yeah, very good lap there from Choco. He'll be happy with that one. It's now a Min who's coming across the line now. Where can he put that Haskar? And it's P9. Not too bad Min there. That's probably slightly borderline, you might ask. There's definitely a big gap in terms of lap time, but not a lot of positions. So it's now Yarel Ansmaz, who's your man in the drop zone at the moment. With 5 minutes left, he'll be looking to try and get that Alpha Tauri into that top 15. Yeah,
that's his aim. And with Keva and Halo on outlaps, it seems like it's a little bit of a anticlimactic end, because there's still 4 minutes left of the session, but some of the top guys have gone, you know what, that's it, I'm done, I'm fine. But these bottom ones are maybe wondering, actually, can these bottom 4 that have still yet to set a lap time, are they going to put Harv, Meatball, Ekos or Amin under pressure? So it's still a few bits of unwritten, it's just not fully written yet, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. There's a lot to play for. Looking at Antsmaz at the moment, he's a man who needs to try and improve the most of 34A, but a big mistake there, and that is not going to do his chances of getting out of this session any good. Antsmaz, I think this possibly could be his debut in the series. It's not going so well so far. A spin now to his name, and with about 3 minutes left in the session, things aren't looking too good for the Alpha Tauri man.
No, and his teammates made a mistake just a little bit further on as well, so not good for the Alpha Tauri boys at all. Halo is just about to cross the line to start his lap time, I believe, so let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do in the tricky conditions. And I wonder if Antmans will go into the pits now and throw on another set of softs, but there is a worry then that he's not going to have a fresh set for the race if he keeps on burning through these tyres.
Yep, he's definitely not put himself in a great position at the moment, but he's got the time. Maybe just about got the time to get in the pit lane and go out again. And I think if you're Halo now, it's pretty important for him to improve, because I think Antsmaz was about 2-3 tenths up there just before that little spin. So definitely the lap time is there for Antsmaz, so you just need to try and get it all together now, which does put a little bit of pressure on these two Aston Martin drivers. Pat Laker just coming out the pit lane now, so he'll be looking to to go again. And as we just seen at the moment, FGE Halo, he's currently on his lap, doing a pretty solid job so far.
Yeah, down the back straight he goes. Akos reckons a 33.7 is safe. So does a Min. So they're not doing any more. The two Red Bulls, though, still yet to retire. So it'll be interesting to see if they will do another one. But Meatball has gone, you know what, I need to go out and just protect myself a little bit. He's got quite a lot of 0.8 of a second, a full second to Antmaz. But he reckons just one more lap just to see if he can break into that top 10 will do him a world of good. Halo then around these final 2 bits is has invalidated though, so he's got to go again maybe to... no, he decides not to go into the pits. That was a late call there.
Oh yeah, it's all about messy there. I think what's caught out was such how late the invalidation was. Invalidated into that penultimate corner, and then I just think a bit of indecision. But I think at the end of the day, I don't really think he would ever get another lap. And Antsman's coming out the pit lane now, but 22 seconds left. I don't think that's enough time for the AlphaTauri drivers to get around the grid. So unless he cuts half the track, I think we might just see Antsman be eliminated from this qualifying session.
Yeah, let's see if he... There's no cutting of corners or anything for him on this occasion, so it looks like he will stay... Well, yeah, he will stay in that 16th place, and it'll be, cut him out of this session, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like it will. It's a little bit anticlimactic now, isn't it, for this session? Because I think that is our bottom 4 pretty much decided now. Just bragging rights in the line for the guys that are still out on track. I'm trying to say, I think Harv currently on the lap. It's good to see Harv racing in this tier. I think, I'm not too sure he's on this year, but one of the old tier 3 champions in the normal WR league. So good to see him in a tier like this, trying to test himself against some of the better names on Xbox. He's doing a very good job so far, currently sitting in P12 for... is it ETA Esports now that are in that Alfa Romeo. They've had 3 different teams racing them this year, so it's pretty tough to work out who's who. So it's good to see Harv driving for them tonight, and looking forward to see what he can try and do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure ETA is gone, so it's another one now. But Pat Leisure, then what can he do? I think he's going to be on maybe on a lap just to see if he can improve on that 34.6 that he's got at the moment, maybe just to give himself a little bit of confidence at the moment. That might be the main reason he's continuing to go out. But apparently he's purple in Sector 2. He is 0.6 of a second up on his lap time, so maybe it wasn't as he wasn't as comfortable the last time around, but now he's really going for it.
Yeah, that possibly could be a chance. There's not really that element of risk anymore, is there? The Antsman's finishing the session, but Halo in the pit lane now, so that is definitely the session well and truly finished. The Pat Leaguer, what can he do now? It's not been a great lap time in terms of the first lap he set, so a big improvement here could possibly send him into the top 10. He comes across the line now, and it is P11, not too bad there, 33.8 for the Aston Martin.
Yeah, throwing himself into P11 for the time being, but that is qualifying over and done with, and I think it is now FRT maybe? Future Racing Team, which is now in the Alfa Romeo. So we'll have to wait and see. But the guys that will drop out of this session, we don't want to talk about the guys at the top, but the guys that drop out, obviously Passy, Andrea, and Justin, who all have qualifying bans to their name, but Antsmaz, is the sole driver to actually drop out. That's unfortunate for him on his return, and he was quite close to Halo's time, and both times that he went out, he did look relatively quick. It was just a few small mistakes to his name that cost him big time.
Yeah, it looks like it was, and it's a bit of a shame to end it like this. But that's just the nature of the game. Sometimes you need to deliver. And today he then just looking at the lap times, quite a big field spread in terms of times, 2.2 seconds from 1st to 16th, which is pretty considerable when you look at it that way. Not something we're used to seeing in this tier. So it just kind of shows you. I think the majority of that is Otis Lawrence, to be fair. So it's just interesting to point out, and it'll be interesting to see if that gap does just close down slightly now as we get into the final 2 sessions of qualifying.
I wonder if we're going to be sat waiting for a little while for these guys to actually go out on track, just because they don't want to waste those tyres, and some of them have wasted even more. So let's have a quick look at the calendar. We do have United States this week. We do actually have, it looks like, another break week next week. So I was wrong. I was wrong with not having and we were full out or flat out until the end of the season. Then we have Canada, Brazil, and then ending the season at Miami. And Miami has been an absolute. You know what? When it comes down to league racing and racing in general, I didn't really like it in the real F1. But when it came to the league racing and esports, it was quite a decent track, and there was always thrown some interesting racing there. So it's an interesting one to end on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I'm looking forward to them going there. I think this end of the season, I have to say, this full calendar has been pretty epic. But especially when you look at it, USA this week, then it's Canada, Brazil, then Miami. It's some very good tracks. A sprint race at Brazil to look forward to on the 9th of December. So yeah, some pretty good tracks. I'm thinking about the break week next week. I think maybe to do with the World Cup, maybe because of England playing. I think that could be my guess on why we've got another break week. But yeah, it'll be good to see anyway. We've got this week and then another break, and then a flat out 3 races to the end. But we'll focus on tonight because at the Circuit of the Americas, this is an epic track. We've seen it in esports as well, how good it can be. And yeah, I think this probably should deliver a pretty good race tonight.
I like how you know the England games more than I do. So let's get back to the action. And before I get any abuse for that, I think Pisti could very well be the first driver to go and set a lap time. His teammates out as well. So we've got 4 drivers out on track right now, and they are all pretty quick driver. Well, I think anyone who really makes it to here is a pretty good driver.
I think anyone on this grid's a pretty good driver. To be fair, it's a very good grid. I think it's maybe a bit of a shame it's maybe not as good as we were used to at the start of the season. I mean, I remember commentating, I think, Abu Dhabi, which was round 2 of the season, and the grid was just epic. There was some top drivers all over it. As the season goes on, you have teams drop out, and the standings look a bit mental when you look at it, but it is still incredibly quick, and we've got some drivers as well that you wouldn't normally see the grid like this, and it gives them an opportunity to try and make a name for themselves, to try and mix it about with the top guys, and that always makes a pretty interesting viewing. So this grid definitely gives us some pretty good actions. I'm trying to see it's FRA Pisti at the moment, who's the first man on the lap for FRA, one of the quicker drivers on this grid, one of the, if not the quickest on the grid outside Otis Lawrence. So you'll be looking to try and get a good result tonight. FRA not too far off clinching that Constructors' Championship here in World. It can't be done tonight, but I think in the 2 weeks' time at Canada, I think it is a bit more of a possibility then. So a strong showing for FRA tonight could definitely take off any pressure and could possibly give them that title in only the next round or 2.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I'm sure there will be, well, maybe not champagne popping for FRA, but they've done a really good job, and Pisti really has started to come into his own a little bit since I think it was Saudi that I missed, and he's had a few. He's been a little bit more consistent, and I don't want to say helpful because that makes it sound like he wasn't helpful before, but he's been a very, very good second driver and to FRA, and unfortunately anyone in that seat, and I think I had a lengthy discussion with Jota last time, that it must be difficult to come into FRA and sit next to Otis Lawrence and still be expected to perform.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for anyone on Xbox at the moment when you compare it to Otis Lawrence. I think when you're racing with someone with that talent, it's just ridiculous because I think he's probably untouchable. I think even people that have dominated in the past, there's been signs where you can beat them. I think I look back at Ronha, as much as how good he was on Xbox, he could have been beat. Shadow as well. When he raced, he could have been beat. He was very good, but he could be beat. But not with Otis Lawrence. He's just different gravy in a sense on Xbox. He's just been that good. And talking about him now, he comes across the line. What that does is set a 33 flat, 1 second clear of his teammate. And yeah, that's just proof in the pudding right there.
Oh my God. What, Otis, what are you doing to us? Halo then coming around the final corner and down the start finish straight for the Aston Martin FGE team. Across the line, it is unsurprisingly P3 and nearly a second off of Pisti, which has made a very, very interesting reading there. But what has Matthew done? Matthew has spun at the exit of the penultimate corner and he's thrown himself back into the pits. That's not ideal for the Haas driver.
Nope, it's not, especially coming to the end of your lap. You've nearly nailed the full thing, and then you just got the last 2 corners to navigate, and then that's when it all goes wrong. So that'll be a frustrating one there for Matthew Partliger. He came across the line, he's went P3, but definitely a lot of it when you compare it to that lap time of Otis Lawrence. Kiva, he's came into the pit lane as well. He's not happy with the lap time that he's set, so I just think it's Amine now to start his lap, and VSR Akos as well now is coming through sector 1.
So that was Keva made a mistake as well. I think that was at the exit of 17, or the 16, 17, 18 section, and not ideal for those. So Amin, who is coming through the S's, let's see what he can do. You know what? I think Amin can do some really. He's quick. I can't say he's consistent because he seems to get himself into trouble sometimes, and it costs him. But it looks like he can be consistent.
Yeah, I think it definitely can be. I think that is on the table for him. I think it just needs to all come together, and I think when it does, he certainly can be consistent and a good driver when he is. So yeah, just keep an eye out on him tonight, see if he can get it all together. Just looking at the ball with Amine now, he's coming through what is the final sector now. This can be pretty tedious at points. It can be slow, it can be pretty painful to try and get on the throttle, but if you navigate it well, it can certainly make or break your lap. Just looking at it there, he's really opening up that corner now for that left-hander into third gear, up into fourth now. He moves over to the left to open up this triple right-hander. Very easy to lose it, and he's just slightly lifting off there, just not get full confidence in the car to take that one flat out, then coming into the flat penultimate corner now. Pretty committed through the end now, just one last corner to navigate. The final corner, using all the curb on the outside, clipping the curb on the inside, and then using all the runoff that he possibly can as he comes across the line. It's a 34th lap, that puts him P4.
And out of that, Akos puts himself into P2 as well, quite close to Otis Lawrence. Maybe we have a pretender to the throne. We'll have to wait and see what the VSR driver can continue to do. Here's Harv then, as he is rounding the turns 15 there, and it's that corner can, if you don't get it right, it can cost you a fair few tenths of a second, which is not ideal in qualifying. But let's see what he can do as a lap time. I hope he is actually on a lap time, or otherwise I've just commentated over for nothing at all. No, he is into 4th place.
Yep, decent little lap there from Harv actually. He'll be happy with that one. And certainly puts him in a good position to try and end this qualifying strongly. Just trying to see if there are any other drivers coming towards the end of their lap, but it looks like for the most part they're all just about starting. I think it's maybe Meatborough is the only one near the end of his lap, but other than that, most people just in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I think it's McLaren of Meatball and then Choco. Choco taking a huge chunk out of turn 12. I'm surprised that wasn't a corner cut, but maybe that is a little bit of a maybe he's extending a little bit too much, but the game is allowing it. Not 100% sure on that. But through turns 16, 17 and 18 he goes. Should be relatively easy for him to get into the top 10, I think. I think he will be the one to see in Q, one of the drivers to definitely see in Q3 from this point, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep an eye out on him, see how he does. Choco now comes across the line, that's P2 for him, beating his teammate Akos. He'll be happy with that lap then. Just try to see PSR Saville, wow, 32.8. Now he'll dethrone Otis Lawrence at the top of the timings. Very good lap there from the PSR driver, and slightly out of nowhere, Leopard as well comes across the line. He goes P4, he'll be happy with that lap as well. That should probably just about put him through. So very good lap times coming in now, and Otis Lawrence out of nowhere is no longer top of the timings.
Will we see him come out again? That's the question. We'll have to ask, and well, hopefully we'll have an answer soon enough. 5.5 minutes left to qualifying. PSR Wilson crosses the line with a 32.5. The times are definitely tumbling now, and can Matthew do anything to combat that? And it's very close. He beats both PSR Sav and Otis Lawrence out of that. The times definitely are tumbling.
Yeah, they certainly are. Otis Lawrence 5 tenths off it. Not many times I get to see that when I'm commentating over him. So yeah, it probably does show you that either Otis didn't hook up his lap, or as you said, the track is just getting that much quicker, which does definitely pose a question that these people that are in the top 10 certainly aren't saved. There's definitely, with 5 minutes left, a lot of positions still to be played for.
Pisty then has decided to risk another lap. Coming into turn 20, he comes, the final corner, and down the start-finish straight for his second lap today, or this session. And it's P2 for the Mercedes driver. He's happy with that one by the looks of things, so yeah, we will go on board. Keva, who's just coming down the back straight. It is. Let's see what the ERL driver can do.
Yeah, Kev no lap time to his name, so he'll be looking to just try and get a good lap time on the board. I think top 10 would be pretty optimistic for him when you go off his Q1 appearance and just his appearances all through this season. So I think if we can even try and get top 12, top 13, I think that is probably a good showing for the AlphaTauri driver. So let's just keep an eye on them now. Coming through the triple right-hander of turn 16, 17 and 18. Gets that corner over to the right-hand side now for turn 18, turn 19 I should say now. The pretty quick left-hander. A bit hesitant there, you could probably argue on the turn in, but definitely a lot of speed carried through there. Out the final corner now, let's see what lap time it is. The 34.3, that puts him P12.
Yeah, exactly where you said he should really be looking to go for, and there's, I think, a Min just coming out right behind him. Who else could be on a lap time through all this? Is Matthew doing another lap time? No, Matthew's coming in to the pits, so it is FGE Halo who is coming down into the hairpin of a turn 11. And this is a tricky corner as well, because if someone does dart it up the inside to you here, it can really unsettle you on the exit.
Yeah, it definitely can. I think for the race is a big corner in this one, because I think it's a long straight. This is probably your best overtaking chance of the track, and if you mess up that corner of turn 11, then you can definitely be on for a pretty long straight. You can have drivers swamping you all around, so really important corner that, and we'll definitely be breaking some moves when we get to the race. So yeah, good corner that, good track this for racing. As I was just looking, Kavar there, it looked like he was pushing on a lap, but he must just be frantically trying to get back to the pit lane. Just under 3 minutes left, so I think Kavar might be pushing it now. And I think we might have just seen Kavar in the end of qualifying, so I don't think he's got enough time to get into the pit lane and get back out again.
No, there was a little bit of a wobble moment for Halo as well. I know he wasn't on the lap, but it's never good to see a back end step out like that. Apparently he's been for 5 minutes going around to start his lap time, but let's see what he can do. He's going to be the first of the final runners to set a lap time. A little bit of pressure on his shoulders. Keva's popped into the pits. He's retired. No more for him. Has he actually popped in, or has he just crashed into the wall? I believe he's crashed into the wall. That's not ideal for him at all. FGE Halo then through the S's section of turn 3 to turn, well, pretty much turn 9. He's got to make sure he navigates it properly. A lot of pressure on his shoulders at the moment, because he is, wow, over 1.3 seconds away from being safe. He needs to really push on this lap.
Yeah, he really does a lot riding on it now. He's a long way off it. You just mentioned there, it's quite staggering actually to be 9/10 off P10. So yeah, a big lap here and a big lap time is needed. Harv, he'll be looking to improve because he's the benchmark for all of these drivers at the moment. Amine, he's a 10th up as well. So all these guys looking to improve. Halo so far, he's in a good lap as well. So the Aston Martin might be hopeful of getting through into this next round.
Oh, and Halo spun it at turn 12. That is gutting for him. A lot of pressure on his shoulders now. He could probably go again, but the tyres are the tyres won't be nice. Everything about it is not good. But Harv is on a lap, and I think Meatball is as well. Let's go on board with the McLaren driver then into turn 11. Down the back straight he goes. A lot of pressure on him because he's not yet to set a lap time.
Yeah, there certainly is. I'm just looking at Amine at the moment as well. He's currently P11, but 5/10 up on that lap time, so he'll be looking very good to try and get through into this next round. Coming into the penultimate corner now, a very tricky corner. This has a lot of casualties been taken by it, but not Amine this time. Just one last corner now. He's got a Mercedes in front of him of Otis Lawrence, but Amine comes across the line, and it is a good lap time there. 33.2. That should be safe for the Haas driver.
I wonder if Leopard is a little bit worried now, because he's in the firing line. His teammate Akos, Harv, and Meatball all on a lap, and Meatball haven't really seen what sort of lap time he's done yet, but he's made sure this one is clean. It's a 1:30 as he exits the final corner, and across the line. It's P10 for him at the moment. Not enough to displace Leopard. I think Leopard's safe. Leopard is P9. Harv goes back into P10, so McLaren driver's in trouble. Pat Leisure, I think, just ahead of Piccolo. So we'll go on board with the Aston Martin driver as he heads down the back straight and to try and save his Q3.
Yep, he'll be looking, oh wow, 7/10 up there. That's a very good lap Indeed, but he needs a bit more than that actually. When you look at the time, he's what, just 9/10 off half at the moment, or 9/10 off half. So in big last sector needed here for Pat Leisure. However, at the moment he'll be very happy with his performance. P10, he is currently the man that's stopping Pat Leisure getting through into this next qualifying round. 2 corners left for the Aston Martin. He does it very nicely there through the front corner. Just one last corner now to try and get that Aston Martin through. He did it very nicely. And the throttle now, he comes across line. Is he through into qualifying 3? And just about he is 33.493. He'd be happy with that one.
Yeah, so he's knocked Harv into P12 for the time being. Halo is out of this qualifying now. He cannot do any better. But what can Piccolo do? He's coming around the final corner now. Is there another twist in the tail? Is there another sting in the tail as well? Across the line, it's P8. He's put his teammate P10. But the 2 Shazoo drivers are through. And poor Pat Leisure, he's out of qualifying. He did so well to get himself a chance there. But he's going to be starting P11.
Yeah, well, some qualifying that was. In the ends, I think it was first of all Meatborough who went P10, then it was Harv, then it was Pat Leisure, and then in the end, all 3 of those guys unfortunately find themselves out of qualifying. Good stuff there from Piccolo and Leopard, both of them through into Q3. 2 Shazoo drivers into Q3 isn't something that we've seen happen that often this season.
It was very odd to see Otis come through there as well. I wasn't expecting him to go back out on a lap, but he decided to cover off any possibilities, but he wasn't needed to do a lap time in the end. But it is Wilson, the man setting the pace in qualifying 2, with Pat Leisure, Harv, Meatball, Keva and Halo all out of Q2 and will not be facing the next qualifying session tonight. How do you think, Callum? How do you think this is going to be in the next qualifying session? Do you think it's very much a case of Otis Lawrence showing us what he's all about again, or is he going to go too early like he did in this session and end up being a little bit further down than we expect?
It's a good question, and I'm not too sure that's going to play out. I think as much as Otis Lawrence is always good, he's probably the favourite. Currently sitting in P6 in that end of the session there. Obviously, there's not too much on the line in terms of getting through. That's all it was for him, but it's definitely a question that has to be asked. Can he maybe be under threat here? There was 5 other drivers in front of him, and they were all looking pretty good. Wilson's looking quick up there in P1, a few other guys as well, all in the mix. So, for once, I don't think this poll's dead set, and over the next 12 minutes, this could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And, 12 minutes of Q3, I think we're only going to see 2 runs, aren't we? That's all we're going to see when it comes down to this one. We might see an early one and then a late one, but I can't see much more than happening than that. Now, something I do want to just quick ask you as well. Corner cutting and penalties here. We've seen early in Q1 that it cost a lot of people. Do you think in the race that it will cost people as well?
Oh, that's a good question again. I think so. I think it definitely will. I would hope not a lot, though. I think in terms of us, from a neutral standpoint, you don't like to see penalties. I think it ruins racing ever so slightly. So I think we're hoping not to see too many penalties. These guys are all very good at the game. They'll be practicing that, but it is pretty tough, especially that first sector. It's such fine margins from now nailing the corner or getting a warning. So certainly has a possibility. And then I think it, just like it is always round here, will probably play a factor.
So Matthew is going to be the first one, as long as he hooks the lap up properly, to set a lap. So it's interesting. It's good to see. Like, I know we've already covered this. It's good to see him back. He's a different team. Maybe being away from FRA, maybe the pressure, because the pressure won't be so high, it will be. We'll see a better version of him. Maybe he can be performing on a different level because he doesn't have that extra pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no disrespect to his team. There's not really much expectation there. They're not fighting for anything in the standings. There's nothing really on the line. I think maybe at FRA there was everything on the line. I mean, they were fighting for the top of the standings. They had a teammate that was the quickest on the game, so the pressure was there at FRA. But now there isn't really much on him. He can do what he wants. If he has a rubbish race tonight, doesn't get any points, it's not the end of the world. If he has a great race and it's good, it's happy for him. He can't really lose in a scenario like this. So I think this could possibly be the making of him. So really interested to see what Matthew can do tonight, and so far it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, we'll continue. Well, we'll watch Matthew with a close eye, but obviously there's a lot of other things happening as well. He's going to start his lap time. He's going to be the first one to set the lap time, as long as it all goes well for him. So he comes into turn 1 and takes the apex as much as he can. He doesn't use as much on the exit, the curb there. Maybe he's found that it unsettles his car too much, but through this area he goes now, and it's looking quite tidy for Matthew, actually. It's looking nice and tidy indeed, and this is exactly what he needs, the confidence to keep on building.
Yeah, that's exactly, excuse me, that's exactly what he needs. I think him and Amini actually both in the exact same first sector, so I think that's quite interesting to point out. So some good lap times on the horizon for the two Haas drivers, and Matthew, he does look very good. That first sector looked tidy, it looked controlled, and I think if he can keep this up, Matthew could be a serious threat for maybe pole position this session.
Into turn 12 he goes again, very similar to Choco in Q2, taking as much of that curb as possible. Obviously the game is saying Matthew is purple at the moment because no one else has set a lap time in Q3, and Piccolo just exiting the pits now, and I wonder if that's a good decision on the first run to go out, less pressure. Everyone else has set a lap time. There's a little bit less pressure for him. And if he does, well, the track will be bedded in more. And if he does make a mistake on his last lap, it's going to be a decent lap when he, as his banker lap. But maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit too much. The two Haas drivers then of a 132.5 and a 132.7 to set us off for qualifying.
Yeah, good laps from the two there. Leopard can only go as good as P3. Couple of tenths off of the pace. Try to see who else is coming to the end of their lap. I think Choco, sorry. As the next one, he's coming round to a final corner now, or the penultimate corner, sorry. Bit wide there on the exit. I thought it could have been in the validation, but luckily for him, it's all nice and green. Comes across the line now. Only good enough for P4, so Choco might be slightly disappointed with that one. The last one that we'll talk about here is Otis Lawrence coming around the final corner now. Where can he put that Mercedes? Can he put it on pole, or will it be Matthew's day so far? Let's see. He comes across the line now, and there you have it, a 32.2, and that is the new standard for the rest of the drivers to try and beat.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. Akos invalidates on the line pretty much. That is gutting for him, and over to Pisty. It's only a 33 dead for him. Wilson throwing at P2. Look how close Wilson and Matthew are. Really ridiculously close. Here comes Shisu. Piccolo then into turn 11. But Sav and Akos have put themselves in a little bit of a problem, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting position they put them in when you invalidate your first lap, because I think it just kind of puts the pressure on for your final lap. You're only getting 2 sessions in the lobby, so yeah, it can really just make it all a little bit awkward. But I think lots of things though, they maybe are going again. I think Akos looks to be going again anyway, so they've maybe got a slight lifeline there, but certainly it isn't ideal doing what they've just did.
Into turn 15 goes Piccolo. He's around the triple right-hander, 16, 17 and 18. Full throttle, no lift off at all. That's a very confident there from the Shizu Racing Team driver. Down into the penultimate corner and now into the last corner. What can Piccolo do? Can he get himself into a decent position across the line? It's just behind his teammate.
Yeah, not too bad though in the end for Piccolo, just slightly off Leopard, and yeah, I don't think he can be too disappointed with that one when you've got a teammate as a high caliber as Leopard. Akos, just looking on board with him at the moment, obviously not finished that lap time, so no lap time to his name, but he's backing off at the moment. I'm not too sure if he's just having a little bit of a wave to his friend Pisty, or if he's looking to try and go for another lap again. It'd be interesting if he was, but as we see now, he's peeling off to the pit lane. So there you have it, he is going into the pit lane, which isn't ideal for him, though, because he's now only going to have 1 run left, and with that 1 run left, everything is determined on it, so a lot of pressure he's put himself under here, and then yeah, it's definitely not ideal for the Hungarian driver.
Not at all, and Pisty's put himself in a little bit of trouble as well, because he's down in 8th place. Usually, well, especially him and Sav, we expect a little bit higher up, but Amin and Matthew and Wilson doing a fantastic job at the moment, keeping Otis Lawrence for company at the front end of the grid. And something, you know, we don't really talk about much is the starts here in WOR, and Otis needs a good start to make sure he isn't attacked into turn 1. we all know he could probably overtake a few laps down the road, but it's not ideal to have to get through any sort of traffic.
No, it's not. It definitely isn't. It's always that element of risk as well, trying to overtake people and having traffic. So yeah, it's not ideal. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, but just 5 minutes left on the clock now. It does look pretty comfortable for Otis, so it doesn't sit as much as I did say before. Oh, it could be open, but a point two from Otis, that kind of came from nowhere when you compare it to qualifying 2-time. So yeah, once again, just showing his dominance, and unless Wilson comes out with one of his best laps he's ever set, I think this possibly could be another Otis Lawrence pole position.
If we had a tenner for every time someone said, "Oh, Otis Lawrence is going to get pole," we would be rich. It just seems like it's one of those things. He is so quick, and I'm sure we will miss him when he moves to PC. We will probably wish for him back, but there hasn't really. You mentioned earlier the likes of Shadow and Ronha having, there was always someone to beat them. There was always someone there. But I think who's that? There hasn't been that person that stepped up. When Ronha was about, it was Shadow that stepped up. When Shadow was about, it was Alfie that stepped up. Other than Cider, who I don't want to say hasn't really stepped up, there hasn't really been anyone that's come to Otis to really attack him.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I think first of all, it's a huge credit to Otis, because I think he's just been that dominant, but also as well, I think maybe not the caliber of driver that we're used to on Xbox. Just as it always happens, you get these good drivers and they move on. Your Alfies, your Shadows, your Ron has. They're all kind of gone now, aren't they? Even John Evans, Antoine, they're just drivers that used to be in the top tier of Xbox. They all move on, don't they? And I think it's going to kind of lower that in Xbox. And when you have Otis Lawrence, you need someone very, very special to be up there. And it's just, we only have one Otis Lawrence on Xbox, so he's just been that good. And I think we'll look back on it in a couple of years' time when he's in esports, and then you'll realise how good he really is. Because I think right now we're probably looking at possibly a future F1 esports champion. He's just that good. I think he makes the rest of this grid look average, which they're not. This is the best of an Xbox. Otis Lawrence, week in, week out, absolutely dominates it. So it's so impressive. And as much as you say it can be boring to watch, I think, as you rightfully mentioned, we'll probably, even in a couple of months' time, we'll go, oh, we miss Otis Lawrence, because it just provides us with things that we've never seen, and we probably will never ever see again.
And for those of you who haven't watched, there was a PlayStation versus Xbox event, which was PSGL versus WOR, and Otis Lawrence destroyed them as well. So it's not just Xbox he destroys the console platform as a whole. So be warned, PC, you've heard it here first. But I say here first. You've probably been worried since July. Anyway, I'm in through the triple right-hander. He comes. It's going to be very interesting. He's already set a pretty decent lap time today, 0.5 of a second away from the man we have just been bigging up. So that's a cracking lap time from him, and let's see if he can improve on that across the line. And he has displaced his teammate.
Yeah, very good lap time actually. He'll be happy with that one. However, 30 seconds left of the majority of the grid. Now either starting laps or are on a lap. So yeah, definitely an improvement for a lot of these drivers are to come. He's just getting on these times. I think Matthew looks like he's in the lap at the moment. Wilson's on one as well, and we've got a few drivers as well, all on out laps. So yeah, this should be a pretty good end to this qualifying session.
Here comes Sav into turn 20. What can he do? Yet to set a proper lap time. And across the line, is it going to be high enough? It's only P6 for him. Matthew, as you quite rightly mentioned, is on a lap time, and he's into turn 15 now. Sav then will start no higher than P6. I thought he might have been able to challenge him in, especially after his qualifying performance in Q2, but it's just not to be for the Williams driver at the moment. But here comes Matthew, round turn 19, into turn 20, but he's invalidated.
Oh, that's a tough one there from Matthew, isn't it? It was a good lap by the looks of things, a 32.4 it was. That would have put him in the front row of the grid as it stands, so that's a sore one to take for the Haas driver, but still a good out nonetheless. Currently sitting in P4. PSR Wilson now P2 at the moment. Can he displace Otis Lawrence? He's in a good lap so far. just over a tenth of a second up, so this possibly could be a good lap here from the Williams driver through the penultimate corner now. He's really committed to this one. Coming out of the final corner now as well. He's really committed to this one. He comes across the line now. Can he get that professional pole? And no, he cannot. It's a 32.4. Still a very good lap though from PSR Wilson.
A fantastic lap time from Wilson. There is an invalidation for Sav, which is the two Mercedes. That is first. It's Pisty that is the first driver to set a lap time. Otis Lawrence has invalidated, so he's not going to go any quicker. But Pisty is through turn 12. And you know what? I was hoping Otis might be able to break the 31 mark. Just break it all. Break any sort of record. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Qualifying is over and done with. I believe the timer has hit the bottom into the triple right-hander, though, is his Pisty. It's an FRA sandwich in Q3 right now. Can Pisty change that? He's going to hope that he can. LCR Leopard is on a lap time as well as his teammate Piccolo. So I think those are the final ones to set lap times. But it's looking quick from Pisty at the moment across the line. And where is he going to place himself? It's P3 for the other FRA driver.
Very good stuff there from Pisty. He'll be more than happy with that one. And Mercedes won 3, so very good stuff there from FRA as they're looking to try and close in on this Constructors' Championship. So very good stuff from them. LCR Leopard now, he's the final driver, I think, to set a lap time. He cannot improve his position, unfortunately. He does go 2 tenths up, but it's only good enough for P6 still. So good stuff there from Leopard, though. P6 and 8 for the Shizou guys, so good stuff all round there for the team that currently sit 4th in the Constructor standings.
Wonder if Matthew is still... No, Matthew is not going again. I thought Matthew might decide to hit it again, but that invalidation late on in his last lap just probably didn't leave him with enough ERS to attack. But that is your top 10 for qualifying for the race. It's looking very grey out again as well. I wonder if there's going to be any rain happening. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. But it's Otis, Wilson, Pisty, Amin, Matthew, Leopard, Sav, Piccolo, Choco and Akos. But I think Piccolo and Akos never really got another chance at that second lap.
No, it doesn't look like they did really. I think maybe shot themselves in the foot with that first run. Akos will be disappointed with himself. Choco as well, a Ferrari 9 and 10. That's not great stuff from them considering how good they can be. I think one of the last times I've done this, it was at Austria and it was a VSR 1-2. So I think it just shows you a bit of a poor day at the office for them, but plenty of opportunity in the race for them. The USA will always throw up some pretty interesting races and will always have a little bit of controversy around it as well. So great opportunity for all of these 19 drivers on the grid tonight.
Definitely, that's exactly what they want. And well, maybe not the controversy, but we love a bit of controversy in the comms box, don't we?
Oh, of course we do. It gives us something to talk about. So yeah, I'm hoping for a little bit. Maybe not too much, but just a little bit. Not Singapore standards of controversy, just a little bit here and there. So yeah, it should be a good one tonight. Otis Lawrence in a pretty commanding position, though. It will definitely take a lot to try and topple him at the top of this race.
I tell you what, Leopard probably wouldn't want controversy on a Singapore scale either, because I don't think his side pod has recovered since then. But let's remind you of the standings one last time. Fury Racing Association, or FRA, or Otis Lawrence, are on 345 points, 99 points ahead of PSR, and that is a huge amount. I don't want to say for certain, but it might be true. I'd need to double check. Come on, sorry, So 207 points for Otis Lawrence. He would be 39 points behind PSR if he was driving on his own.
That is ridiculous. You know, that is, wow, what a start that is. And I'm not surprised, to be honest. You know, I'm looking at it. I'm not too sure who won last week at Spa. I think it was Otis Lawrence, wasn't it? So yeah, there you go. So he's won every race this year, bar the one, which was at Monza, where he got a penalty, which he won on track. So I'm not so surprised at that one. It just, you know, honestly, I'm looking at the standings, and you've got one third, and then another 4 wins after it. So yeah, pretty ridiculous stuff. So not too surprised at that stat. So yeah, it just shows you once again the Otis Lawrence dominance. That has been a case this season, and I don't think it's going to change tonight, because if we go anything by qualifying, Otis Lawrence is probably looking the favourite once again to win tonight.
Yeah, we will wait and see. And as much as we love and Otis Lawrence win. We were also hoping for something else to happen as well. But most of all, we just would love a great race, and that's all we want, isn't it? But for those of you in the chat, let us know who you think is going to take victory tonight here at the Circuit of Americas. I'll ask you the same question, but I think I know your answer.
Yep, it's going to be pretty straightforward, isn't it? Otis Lawrence, I think, is always going to be the favourite, isn't he? I do fancy Wilson. I fancy Peasty. I fancy Matthew as well. I think they've got a chance if they can try and stay out of trouble. Maybe a little bit of luck goes away. I think Otis Lawrence, he's not completely, unbeatable. I think things have to go against them, but things do go against them tonight, and we definitely have an opportunity for another guy to try and get a win tonight. So yeah, Otis Lawrence is definitely my favourite. It would be the bookies' favourites as well. But you know what? Anything can happen, especially in League Racing.
While we wait for the drivers to get themselves ready for this race, sort their strategies out. There is a shout for Leopard in there for a win. You know what? My heart says I would love to see a Novus Racing 1-2. Amin and Matthew 1-2. What a race that would be. And it probably would have shown that it would be a fantastic race by just hearing that. I would also love to see Leopard have a great race. But I think it would be very, very amiss of me not to say that Otis Lawrence is definitely the one to watch out for.
Yeah, just like always, just going to look further back, Maz. I spoke about him earlier on in the qualifying. His debut tonight in World, I'm looking forward to see what he can try and do for ERL. Unfortunately, getting knocked out in qualifying one didn't set him up for a great qualifying, obviously. But yeah, looking to see if he can try and get a good result for him tonight. We've got Renz as well, who's joined the session. Like, he is driving for, I think it could be FRT that's in that Alfa Romeo. So good to see what he can try and do tonight as well, starting from the back of the grid.
Just loving to see some of the things said in the chat. If Amin wins, I'm quitting my job. Fair enough. The reason why VLX and WOR are still on the standings, because they did score points. They scored points, so they have a right to be on the standings. I think that's fair. But these guys are being divas. They're really eking their strategy out quite high. And yeah, let's discuss this middle while they're doing that. Oh, I say that, and they've just... the countdown's just started. We won't talk about the middle field battle because that really, Novus to Velox, P5 to P10, that's where everything is looking really interesting and anyone can really get there. One good result, and that's all FGE had. They had that, what is it, one podium, was it for, I can't remember who it was, but they had that one podium and it's propelled them up, and then they had a 4th place finish as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But lights are on. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here at the Circuit of Americas. And I haven't changed the screen. We have now. And there we go. Wilson has not had the best of start. Pisty is attacking. Amin and Matthew are swapping places around as well. Up the inside. Is that a little bit of rain I can see?
Oh, I'm not too sure if it is. I think it is looking pretty dry at the moment, but it's not affecting these drivers nonetheless anyway. It was pretty clean start all round, but a lot of position changing for the most part. But yeah, clean all round, not too many casualties. But I do say that we have an ERL driver off on in the background, but Otis Lawrence does lead the pack away. Wilson doing nicely as well in second, but Matthew, he's gained a few positions as well, finding himself up into P3.
Yeah, Matthew doing a fantastic job attacking Wilson at the moment. Know each other quite well. There's a little bit of a gap in the background between P11 and P12. But unfortunately, Keva and Meatball have dropped massively. Leopard getting past Akos in the background there. Leopard's dropped 3 places. Amin's dropped 3 places. But Choco's been placed up 4.
Wow, very good stuff there from Choco. He's making the most of that controller as well. He broke pretty late there at the turn of 13. Trying to see if he can get a move on the Mercedes of Effery Pisty. He looks a little bit fragile this early on. Choco definitely could be trying to maybe seize up a move now coming into this double left-hander. But as it stands, Choco just sitting behind him. But keep an eye on this battle for P4 because Choco is looking pretty feisty on these early stages of the race.
Apparently I must be seeing things. There's definitely no rain now. It must have been just something a little bit off on my screen, and Crispy, I trust what he says. It's not driving on, not racing. No, it's not raining on a driver POV. So yeah, must be dry, and it's just my screen that is messing up. In the background, we got Halo and Antmaz popping into the pits, but yeah, it seems like this lap 2, it's all about whether Otis can get away from Wilson in time before the DRS opens.
Yeah, it's like kind of the theme of every race. Otis Lawrence's first few laps are always really crucial. But Wilson, he doesn't seem to be fighting it too much. Not awful lot of VRS used, and maybe just admitting that Otis Lawrence is just not his race today. He's maybe just knowing that is probably not a person that he can beat today. That 1 second gap has already been reached. Just over 1 second now. They're coming into turn 11. So yeah, just showing you the other pace of Otis Lawrence. I'm just looking further back. Now this battle for P6 is starting to brew as well. Sav on the back of Choco, but Amini as well. All over the back of Sav, on the back straight, and we now go. The Haas of Amini really putting Sav under some pressure here, forcing him to use some ERS. As we're coming to the end of the straight, maybe just not enough length of this straight for Amini to make a move, and as it stands, he'll still stay in that P7, but certainly very close to the back of that Williams.
Yeah, he'll want to make up for some of those positions that he's lost at the start, but side-by-side action between Akos and Harv as they come through this tight section. Harv is desperate to get some points tonight, and he's got up the inside of Akos, and he's got the position. BRT Justin's had a good start as well, but bearing in mind both of those drivers are on a medium compound tyre, so they will be quicker these early doors. Up ahead, Otis Lawrence has built that 1.3 second lead, and Wilson pulling away a little bit from Matthew now.
Oh yeah, it looks like he has a pace probably there for Wilson as well, but just not in comparison to Otis Lawrence, who is definitely pulling away from the rest of the field at the moment. 1.2 seconds is the gap as we come into the middle sector for the third time this race. First sector, I should say, for this race. So yeah, Otis Lawrence, the pace is really there, and there will be no DRS for PSR Wilson, which will just make Otis Lawrence's life that little bit easier.
I wonder if they will battle, or if they will just try and work together to catch back up. But Pisty moving, like dropping away from Matthew. That would be a little bit more to music to Matthew's ears, because he probably doesn't want anyone battling him while he's trying to look at Wilson. So the top 6 really quite stretched out. Sav is under a lot of pressure from Amin. Amin is desperate to get himself back up into places that he believes he should have been before.
Yeah, I mean, he's really feisty this early on. He's really trying to make up a few better places, but it's just really not working out for him so far. I think Sav did have DRS on that last lap, just helping him to try and stay ahead on that track position. But at the moment, he will just about hang on as we now. We've got a Harv all over the back of Leopard as well on those medium compound tyres, trying to make the most of the softer compound tyres. As we've got Justin as well in the background. He's making his way past Akos, a bit of contact between the two of them there, just about keeping it on the track. And Akos, he now sends it up the inside, more contact between the two of them. It's all getting a little bit amazing now as we've now got Pat Lager as well. He's lurking in the background. Can he try and get involved? It's still side by the two of them. In the end, it is Justin who does get that move done, but probably lost a bit too much time for his liking.
2.3 seconds he's lost from all that. Sav outside of the DRS from Choco ahead, but it all went wrong for Akos as he went deep into turn 12. Justin immediately went on the attack around the outside of 13, 14, the inside of 15, and then we saw the contact between the two. It just looked like a little bit of just Akos putting a little bit too much power down at once.
Yeah, it could be the case here. Akos will be disappointed with that one now down in P12. Way off that leading pack now, so a costly battle for probably both drivers involved. Just looking to see if there are any battles brewing. I'm just trying to say there, but by the looks of it, everyone is pretty happy to sit behind each other.
Yeah, Harv 0.3 of a second behind Leopard. It's at the moment this is not ideal for Harv. The situation he's in, he's not quick enough to make moves at the moment. He's stuck in this DRS train, and he's on the softer compound tyre. And it'll just 4 or 5 laps time. He won't be on the good enough tyre to attack Leopard, and the rest will just look to pull away.
Yeah, it just looks like that at the moment when you're in the medium compound tyre. It's really important to try and make the most of it. Try and make the most of that softer tyre early on in the race. And at the moment, Harv, he's just stuck behind the 2 Red Bulls at the moment, and it just doesn't really make his life any easier. So I'm just on board with him at the moment. He is pretty close to this final sector And maybe if Leopard makes a mistake, Harv could possibly seize an opportunity there to try and get himself up into P9.
I wonder if there will be any team orders at Shazoo, because Piccolo's slowly dropping away from him in, and Leopard isn't losing that ground to his teammate ahead. But Harv looking very close, looking like he wants to make a move. He's maybe getting a little bit of a bit more confidence, but sat behind this Red Bull to make a move soon.
Yeah, it does look like that. He's maybe just sizing up an opportunity. The pace is obviously there. Those tyres are much quicker than the hard at this point in the race, so Harv will be looking to try and make the most of it. Looking further up, people are starting to spread out a little bit now as well. Choco out of DRS to Piste. He's hanging on for dear life there. P4, 10% ERS to his name, as he is just about getting DRS there to Effery and Matthew. Or Envia Matthew now, I should say, a bit of a slip of the tongue there. But yeah, at the moment, all pretty stale up front and all pretty stale in the middle pack as well.
It'll be interesting to see how this will continue to battle out. Akos getting close to the back end of Justin. Justin's unable to catch the guys ahead. His tyres may not be in the best of conditions in comparison to maybe Harv's there. I believe Jack Taylor's asking how many seconds lost in the pit lane at America. I believe it's something like 21, 22 seconds. I could be wrong. It could be as much as 28. I can't really remember. For this one, Callum, I'm not sure if you are aware of the answer to that.
No, unfortunately I'm not. I wish I did, but it's always roughly around the 20-second mark, which isn't really news to anyone. But yeah, unfortunately I don't really know. But it'll be interesting to see if it makes a big difference. I don't think it's any different in terms of the strategy anyway, but it does bring us on nicely. It will be hard for medium tonight. We've not really mentioned it, but we don't really need to mention it now. I think this game, it's been pretty set in stone that hard medium has been the way. It's been the best strategy virtually every track you go to, and yeah, it won't be any different tonight. As as I mentioned, it's just been the superior strategy every track we've been to this game.
Yeah, and you know, you occasionally get the lucky ones that have gone on the mediums to start with, and the safety car comes out at the right time, which really throws the hard compounds out early doors. Or the wet weather tracks or the wet weather races that we've had, they always have, you know, never usually a hard medium combination there. But I'm sure if Otis Lawrence tried, he might be able to get a decent result in that.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. And just try to see anything further on. That's Akos and Justin. Akos is getting that revenge for a couple of laps ago. He's going up into P11 there. But oh wow, he's a long way off. It isn't he? 4 seconds is the gap to him, and then Harv, who's up ahead. So yeah, a bit of no man's land there for Akos, as he needs to try and get his head down now. And if he somehow can try and get in the gap, or try and close that gap, I should say, to try and get that gap closed down to Harv in front. But it's a long way ahead of him. So yeah, tough stuff there for Akos in P11.
We will continue to watch to see if Harv can get anything on Leopard. Justin now actually getting close. I wonder if he might try something up the inside into turn 1. Let's see it from his point of view as they go down the start-finish straight for the 7th time tonight. He gets close, but I don't think it's going to be close enough into turn 1, and may have compromised his line a little bit there by trying, well, I don't want to say trying a move, but maybe doing a little bit of a fake move into Akos into turn 1.
Yeah, could definitely be on the cards. I'm just looking Sav. He's looking pretty feisty. Choco now, not an awful lot of VRS. That red light is flashing is definitely always a sign of a driver who is struggling. ETA Andrea picked up a 3-second time penalty. He's pretty far back at the moment. PSR Sav now. Choco, it's a little bit of a wiggle. I don't know if that's a wiggle of approval. We just say on you go, mate, because it looks like it is Sav moving up into P5 now, and there's not really much resistance there from Choco, and Sav, he'll be happy with that one. Up into P5 he will go.
And Shazoo drivers are swapping places as well. Leopard may have thought, you know what, I'm not getting anywhere here. I'm fed up of seeing Harv behind me. I want to have a go at him in. And unlike real Red Bulls, these two are following team orders. But up the inside, Harv goes on Piccolo and pushes Piccolo out wide. And Harv has followed Leopard through and into P9. And now looking to attack Leopard. That's a great little opportunity here for Harv, because Leopard is not going to have the DRS as they come down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, he won't. This is really going to hamper his prospects this race because it just doesn't make it any easier to try and catch up. You're gaining a cut, you're losing, I should say, a good couple of tenths in the straight without DRS, so that could definitely hamper his race now. And yeah, it gives him a pretty big uphill task now. Just looking, Choco's really struggling now. He's already lost about a second to Sav in front, so I'm not too sure what happened. He looked so good early on, but it just doesn't seem to have that pace now. Just looking as well, listen, Justin and Akos, these two still going at it, coming into the first sector they go. You don't normally see battle in here, and just rightfully so, Akos, he backs out there going into the kind of S section. These two going side by side, but in the end, Justin back up into P11.
But for his troubles, he picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that's not ideal at all. Piccolo down to P10 with all that. Harv still battling away, and I think Justin's made a big mistake and losing the place to Akos into turn number 11 there. And we are going to have a position change. I'm sure Amin is going to attack Choco down the inside into well before turn 12. And Amin is now starting to get his own way a little bit and battle his way back through the field. Leopard has stayed ahead of Harv and got into the DRS of Choco ahead.
Yeah, just looking further back, a pretty poor corner there for Justin, losing 2 positions in the one straight. That's Pat Lager up into P12 and Akos up into P11 now as well, so not so good there for Justin's. It looks like those mediums possibly past their best now. However, Harv, he's looking pretty good on those mediums, isn't he, in P9 at the moment. So yeah, it's a bit of a contrast there, but Justin, he won't be too happy with that one. There's another mistake there as well, could possibly leave him vulnerable now to Passy for P14.
Yeah, it's like we've got 2 different races going on at once. Well, 3. Otis Lawrence is one race, and then there's a few others. Wilson and Matthew doing a good job of pulling away from Pisty and P4 as well. Sav caught up with Pisty. He had a little bit of a gap to Choco, did Pisty, but now Sav has brought that in. Sav has definitely got a good race pace about him here. Very reminiscent of Leopard, who's got close to the back end of Choco. So Leopard starting to find his feet. Akos picking up a penalty. That's a gutter for him. And yeah, Amin being caught by Choco again now. So it's very, very interesting to see how all this will continue to plan down. But right now, definitely Otis Lawrence is in the commanding seat there.
Yeah, it is the case. It's always the case, isn't it, when it's an Otis Lawrence league race. And yeah, 3 seconds at the moment. He's just cruising. He's not really pushing it. 92% ERS to Otis Lawrence's name. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? He is just in a world of his own. So yeah, I think something pretty drastic has to happen for it not to be an Otis Lawrence one today. But nonetheless, we've still got a pretty good race as well. That's Choco, a mistake there, and that's going to cost him possibly 1, maybe even 2 positions as Harv is looking to try and get stuck in as well. That releases Leopard, who goes up into P7. It's Choco now. Oh, he's going wide, and that's going to allow Harv down the inside. 2 of them going side by side through turn 18. This is, they're coming in the inside on the left-hander. It's round the outside. Harv goes Choco. He's near enough pinch to the inside there, but in the end, it's Harv who does gain that position up into P8. And Choco at the moment is an issue with that car because he is stumbling a lot of positions now, down into P9 and out to be P10 now, as Piccolo is looking to possibly get by him as well.
What audacity from Harv just to continue that through. It looked like it wasn't gonna happen, but he just threw his car in there and was like, you know what, this is my position for the taking. And he's done a fantastic job. Harv is trying to get back at Leopard. Leopard is trying to keep up with an Min as well. There's so many different small battles going on. I'm keeping on board with Sav as he's looking to attack Pisty. Pisty's gone out wide at the exit of turn number 9 there and into 10. He's gone to the inside for turn 11 to put off the Mercedes driver. The FRA driver has switched back onto it, but he's just not got the grip. And Sav now up into P4 and has the DRS as they go down this back straight.
Yeah, very nicely planned out there from Sav. He just waited until that detection point came, and then he made the move down the inside. He didn't overshoot the corner as well. It's very easy to do, but he made sure he got the apex done in the piece. He didn't have a chance there. So good move there from Sav, and as you mentioned, really showing some really good race pace at the moment as the Williams man. So definitely one to look out for. Just looking as well, P11, Akos and Pat Laker going at it now. This is a battle just outside the points, the 2 of them. Still going at it, a bit of contact in the 2 of them now, as they're still going side by side. This is now into turn 16, I think, maybe 14, I think it is, sorry, as Akos. He's got that inside line now, and I think that could be him just about keeping that position as well.
And the 2 BRT drivers have swapped places as well. Justin's early rise has now come to a little bit early demise. Matthew dropping away from Wilson at the top. Wilson started to turn the screw on him. Pisty losing ground to Sav as well. Amin is catching Pisty. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Who is that for? That is Matthew. Matthew's around.
Oh, it's really unlucky there for Matthew. It's not what you want to see. Harv getting past him as well there. So, yeah, more mistakes creeping into Matthew's race. And that is just not really what you want to see. It's just when you think he's on for a good race and then unfortunately mistakes like that just happen. And yeah, it could possibly be very, very costly. But we'll just stick a word with him at the moment because he might be looking for a little bit of early redemption here on the back of Harv. Harv struggling on those medium tyres and he's been on them for around about 10 laps. There you have it, down the inside you go. That's pretty audacious. Harvey gives him the room there, but Matthew, he shoves him right out like he's having none of that. And there you go, Matthew already making inroads back up into that P7 spot. But Harv, he's not giving up that easy. He's still got one more straight to go. But does he have the legs? I don't think he does. Matthew might just be hanging on in here. Unless Harv, does he return the favour? No, he does not. That's Matthew up into P7.
Oh, Choco absolutely messed his braking point up and is clattered into Harv. And Piccolo's trying to get onto it as well. And Choco, oh dear, that is not great for him. And he's still battling away to the inside of Harv. But Choco, that's unfortunate and has cost them some massive time to Matthew. And Harv will not be happy with that one.
No, he definitely won't be. I just clicked off it there and then I was quite shocked to see what you were commentating over there. So yeah, very late move from Choco there, and I think, as you mentioned, a bit of a mistake on the braking point there, which could definitely be pretty costly in the end of it. Also, yeah, DRS is always very important in the F1 game, and then when you lose it that easily, because you're battling for kind of a silly little battle as well, there's no need to go, or no need to have a battle like that. So yeah, unfortunate stuff there for Choco. As Harv now, we're looking to try and make the most of those mediums, but they'll definitely be coming to the end of their life cycle now. We'll probably see the Alfa Romeo driver pit for Harj pretty soon, I would imagine.
Yeah, it can't be long for him to go in there. And a little bit of bad news for LCR Leopard. He's picked up a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. However, I don't think he really had much choice. And he's probably going to have to serve that in the pit lane, and it's going to be putting him way back down, probably behind his teammate. All that hard work he's done, but up the inside of Choco goes Piccolo into turn 11, and the Red Bull driver is now side by side again, but he hasn't had the best of exits, and he's had to drop in behind the Ferrari driver.
Yep, it looks like he is. It's a need for effort though, going for that move, but in the end, just not coming to fruition. As Choco's again, oh wow, he was braking pretty late there into turn 12, but this thing doesn't make any contact. So yeah, improvements each lap. Pat Laker as well there. Oh, he's getting pretty close to the back of Akos as that battle is now coming to fruition for P11. These guys have been going at it all race here. That is now Meatborough, who's now getting stuck in as well there. So these guys have created a pretty good race as well. The McLaren went for the move down the inside. That's pretty ambitious if I do say so myself. And on the exit, they kind of get the move done, but the Aston Martin gets have that inside for the triple right-hander, and I think that might just be enough to give him the move. But the McLaren on the switchback, he's still not giving this one up that easily. But I think in the end, maybe the Aston Martin, he'll just have the legs over the McLaren, and in the end, he'll keep that position for P12.
Tell you what, Meatball's mediums are definitely still working nicely. Justin is into the pits, and he's going to look at Pat Leisure this time around. Will he go to the inside? Will he go to the outside? Pat Leisure having to defend, but he's going around the outside. Surely not. A switchback maybe, but Pat Leisure's traction is much better than the McLaren's, and he's holding position at the moment. But Akos is pulling away a little bit. But look at that, P11 is 8 seconds away from the top 10.
Yeah, wow, it's a big split, isn't it? And you're right, there probably is 3 races getting run. You've got the Lotus Lawrence racing, you've got the battle from P2 to P10, and you've got the rest of the grid. There's a real spread in the rest of the grid. There's a huge gap between Akos and Piccolo, and for the most part, I think Akos really needs a great race if he wants any chance of getting points, because that is some gap now to try and overcome. Just looking now at this battle for P12, let's see if Meatborough can get any sort of move on him. There's not much ERS, but he does have that ERS, which can be very, very helpful. Does he ask the Martin to find it? It doesn't look like he is, and that looks like the McLaren is up into P12.
Passy waiting in the wings as well. Nothing happening for him to make any moves on just yet, but I'm just pretty certain. I was pretty certain I was going to say Meatball was going to go into the pits this lap, but he's still got some great pace around him. He might not. Otis Lawrence setting the fastest lap of the race. He's deciding to flex his muscles a little bit again, deciding to remind everyone who he is.
Yeah, he certainly is. That was 8 tenths quicker than Wilson that lap as well. just for reference. So while very, very quick lap there. Indeed, Have now comes into the pit lane, so he's had enough of those mediums. That's a pretty successful stint, so I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with that one overall now, and definitely a threat for this race in terms of track position. Those hards will be pretty good now. If he can get a good bit of clean track, if Harv can get some good laps in, he could possibly be a bit of a threat for an undercut. He might not be great in terms of long term because everyone else will be on mediums, but yeah, for the most part, Harv could be a threat in terms of getting some track position over some of his nearby rivals.
Yeah, Meatball able to, sorry, continue to hold off Ledger, but that is a half. You know, the undercut, it does work well here, so it's going to be interesting to see how much he can, well, maybe get up in front. Maybe he can see himself in a podium position early doors and then just be a frustration to everyone else and give us a massive, just interest for us all to continue watching. I have changed to the gap to leader as requested, but yeah, let's stay on board with. Actually, let's go on board a little bit with the guys at the top. We haven't really seen the top guys for a little while. I'm in Leopard and Matthew quite close together, and I think Choco and Piccolo diving away with each other again.
Yeah, these guys have given us a pretty good battle. Just sticking on board with them. Pretty respectful racing actually from the two of them, as they're going at it for P8 at the moment. But yeah, not too much as Choco actually goes into the pit lane. Oh wow, that's early, very, very early on. 15 laps in, and he's had enough of those hard tyres. He definitely initiates an undercut there, and he'll be looking to try and get a little bit of ground on Matthew in front because he was a little bit. I think it was the other 5 seconds he was in front of him there. So yeah, a bit of time to begin there from Choco in the pit lane, and that's a good way to do it. Those fresh mediums, they'll be pretty fast for the first couple of laps.
Yeah, but thinking about double stacking, I'm not thinking it is going to be double stacking. Sav and Wilson, maybe Sav's got to be a bit more careful. Maybe Sav's got to go first out of the two because of the time. They don't want to pit the same lap, but they don't want to. I don't think they would want Sav to pit later than Wilson.
Yeah, you're probably right, and I think it's always a tricky one, isn't it, with two teammates. Double stacking never really been a good thing in this game. I'm not too sure why it happens in real life, but you can't do it in the game for some reason. So it's always makes it pretty awkward for teammates, especially when you're that close. So yeah, probably a good thing from Choco there as well to do. It allows him and Akos to get off the same sets of tyres at different points. So it makes it all pretty easy there for those guys. Another tricky one is for the two Haas guys as well, two Red Bulls as well, all looking to double stack him, of course. I say that the full top 10 have pretty much got their teammates with them, so yeah, it just kind of leaves it pretty interesting because there'll be a lot of room for undercuts. I'm talking about the Piste, he dives off into the pit lane, and so does Amine as well, so two guys have initiating that undercut. They've had enough of the hard tyres, and Piccolo as well, for good measure, he's also off into the pit lane. So
interesting there. What you might say, it's not their strongest drivers staying. Yeah, the strongest drivers of each team has decided to stay out that one extra lap. And that's no disrespect to the others. I would say Matthew is the stronger of the two of the Hasses. Otis Lawrence is the stronger of the two of the FRA guys, definitely. And Leopard consistently shown a bit better than Piccolo. But Piccolo's become much more consistent over recent weeks, and it's great to see. The fastest man on the track is Akos right now. Comes out in P12, 2.5 seconds behind. 2.3 seconds behind Keva, who's yet to pit, and the top 5 have yet to pit as well.
Yep, it looks like that at the moment. Just looking on board with it's Choco at the moment on those fresh medium tyres coming out the pit lane. And he's now got a bit of a roadblock in front of him. The nicest way possible to have. Those hards will not be up to scratch compared to these fresh mediums. It's fresh hards versus fresh mediums, but as we've seen at the start of the races, fresh mediums are just a little bit of a step ahead. So let's see what we can do here. Choco in the back. Oh, the Alfa Romeo, will the Alfa Romeo defend it? I don't think he will, it wouldn't make sense. But Choco, he's not using much CRS, which might make this overtake a bit harder than he would have fancied. He pulls off to the left, he pulls off to the inside, and that does promote him up into P8 there. So a pretty simple move from Choco, and then there, and he'll be happy. He didn't lose too much time there.
Yeah, I wonder if any of the others, Otis Lawrence hasn't pitted, neither has Wilson. Sav's gone in early. Matthew and Leopard swapping places. How have we missed? Oh, sorry, it's because Matthew's popped into the pits. I was keeping an eye on this battle for P8 because it looked Harv could could battle back if he continues to stay in the DRS and use his ERS strategically. He can stay here and be the driver to watch at the end of the race.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It's always a good one to look out for as we're looking at Sav. He's re-emerged in P4 just ahead of Pisty, so he'll be happy that he's just about got a position there. Matthew as well, he's in P7 just behind his teammate, but just keep an eye now on Pisty all over the back of Sav, because Sav, those tyres will not be up to scratch, so it could leave him possibly vulnerable here, but I think for the most part he should be okay. Sav looks like those mediums are back up to temperature now. And I think for the most part, Sav should stay in that P4 spot.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Pisty might have a little attack down the back straight though, with DRS enabled. Use a bit of ERS. It'll be interesting to see. Great exit though from Sav, pulling away at the early starts of the back straight, and he's still pulling away now. But Pisty is coming back into it. Is he going to have enough of track? There's not enough straight line.
No, unfortunately there is not. Another man which could do a bit more straight line is Piccolo, as he's making a move for P9 down the inside, having those hard tyres. He just doesn't really have the grip to try and defend, but Piccolo doesn't have much ERS either, but in the end he does make that move up into P9, goes the Red Bull.
Yeah, Piccolo will be wanting to attack Choco soon as well, but that 1.3 second gap is going to cost him, I think, a little bit. Where is Wilson? Wilson's popped into the pits. Leopard has stayed out. He's gone longer. Otis Lawrence has gone longer. Are we going to see something special from those two? Let's look at it from a Wilson point of view as he comes out of the pits. Where is Sav? Sav is miles away. Wilson definitely covered off his teammate with ease there, but they are 9.5 seconds behind Leopard at the moment, who is yet to pit. Maybe Leopard is hoping for a safety car.
Yeah, he will be now, won't he? I think if he pits, where will he come out? I think it would be around about, I think about P9, I think P10 possibly. So yeah, it's not a great point, especially for Shizou when they're looking to try and get some sort of grasp for this P3 battle. And tonight's a good night for it. VSR have not had a good race. So if Shizou get a good result, then this could be really good in terms of their fight for P3. There's about 40 points in it between the two of them, so a good result for Shizou. He'd certainly propel them back into a serious chance for top 3 in the standings. So LCR Leopard staying for a safety car might not be the worst idea ever.
Yeah, it's not really much else action going on. Let's look at it from a meatball point of view, who's on the hard compound tyre. Just ahead is Passy. We have lost a driver. Is that Ant-Man's? It is Ant-Man's, and he's dropped to the back end of the grid.
Yeah, shame for Ants, man. We've not really spoke about him tonight or Kivar, but it's for good reason. They've been pretty pants, haven't they? No really where to be seen, and there's got yellow flag sector 1, 2, and
Safety
3.
car.
I don't know if that's. Oh wow, it is a safety car. There you go, and that is big for this race. LCR Leopard, Christmas has came early for him. However, the safety car came out. It's on the track, and I think Leopard's going to get caught up here. So maybe not for Leopard. And I think it could be pretty awkward here. I think Leopard might actually lose quite a few track positions now.
Leopard has just... Well, that is absolutely gutting for Leopard, because he's got to pit now and he'll be at the end. But does he decide to go onto a set of softs?
Oh, now that's a good call. I think it's bold, but I'm not too sure if the softs have it in them. It's the last eight laps. I know we'll be on the safety car, but at the end of the day, you're still doing 3-4% wear under safety car on soft tyres. So I don't know. I'm not too sure what Leopard is in this scenario, but I did see Christmas came early. But unfortunately, I think Santa just gave him coal, because I think the safety car, he's going to lose quite a few positions with the way this has all happened, and I think he could possibly find himself maybe around about probably. I think he'll be last. I think he could possibly be last when he does come into the pit lane.
I think he might be safe, because there's a few drivers who have decided to go for that soft strategy. Justin, Andrea, Halo F1, all gone on it. Keva going on for a medium. I didn't see what happened to Ant Smaz, because he's obviously got himself disqualified. But what did he do wrong? I didn't see. Like, did he just let people pass because he'd spun, and then I'm not sure. But it's odd. But I'm sure he was disqualified after the safety car.
Yeah, he was. I think he just didn't move. I think he crashed and he just didn't move. So I think it was just for being parked and parked here. That's kind of what happens, unfortunately. Also, this could be no news to anyone, but I was just watching Otis Lawrence there, and he when he got to the slower corners, he revved it out in neutral, which I thought was a pretty interesting thing. Try to burn some fuel there. Obviously, maybe a bit too much fuel in this car, but I just thought it was a pretty interesting way to try and burn some fuel, which I've never really seen before. As LC Leopard just come into the pit lane now. I wonder what it'll be, softs or mediums for the Red Bull, and that will be the question.
It looks like mediums for the team that is setting it up. The 5 seconds is being held. It's even worse for Leopard. He's going to get no points. And from what could have been a big points haul for Shizou, it's now he's in 15th and he's got an awful lot of work to do.
Oh wow, yes, it's not easy at all. Softs are great and all, but track position's even better sometimes, and he's got a lot of work to do, as you said. 8 laps to go. It might be, what, 6 laps once the safety car comes in. So, yeah, this isn't easy for him, and he's got some great overtakes. He's going to have to make some great overtakes. He's going to have to try and stay out of trouble. And if he can do that, Leopard, he still could be on for a pretty solid result.
Yeah, it's just... he never seems to get the luck as Leopard. He's had 3 podiums this season. It just doesn't seem to fall his way in other departments for it, though. And actually, he's only had 2 podiums. My bad on that. It's, I think, possibly Piccolo got the other one at Silverstone, didn't he? He did eventually get 3rd place, I think, from penalties. But yeah, Leopard. The only race he hasn't finished was Singapore. And that was the only race he hasn't finished in the points. So there's a lot of pressure on Leopard, especially with the cars behind who are on softs as well. But yeah, FGE in the points with Pat Leisure as well. That's another good place for them to be, catching a little bit more to Velux, which is interesting. Matthew and Amin, some huge points for Novus there today so far, if it stays as it does.
Yeah, absolutely is. And I'm not surprised about it. It's such a good team, you know, with some good drivers. You know, Amin's been really impressive since he's been in World. There's been some proper standout drives there. And then when you've got a driver like Matthew, the points will always come, one of the best on Xbox. I think it's just the consistency is all he misses. And yeah, as it stands, this could be a real good result for Haas tonight.
Safety car in this lap. That was late. So it does help maybe Leopard get a few positions gained. But when does Otis Lawrence go? When does he decide to put the foot down? He hasn't done it yet, and Wilson goes alongside him. But there he goes now, and I don't think it's put off a few drivers. But Amin is attacking Pisty. Choco's attacking Matthew. This is going to be huge as it comes down to turn 1. What is happening behind? It's a big little shunt, and there's more action, and I think that's Sav. That's around. Pisty's having a back-end wobble, and somehow Matthew... Choco's in P3, Matthew's in P4, Akos is in P5.
Oh, well, that's just carnage from start to finish there. Absolute chaos all over the grid. I'm not too sure who was instigating all of that, but wow, some few pretty unhappy drivers coming out of that one. Leopard up into P12. He's the great start. Matthew, he's all over the back of Choco now as well. Choco, he's under a little bit of pressure now. Coming into turn 12, they go. What can Choco do? In defence of Matthew, absolutely nothing as Matthew sends it up the inside. The Ferrari of Akos as well. Try to get stuck in with his teammate, but Choco, he can't do much at the moment, and that is it. Matthew up into the podium places. Great restart from him.
Yeah, exactly what he would have wanted from that, even with a little bit of a wobble. Pisty attacking Piccolo. Is he going to have anything into it? I think Matthew's losing a position to Choco as well. In the background, Harv being tagged by the McLaren of Meatball there as well. And Leopard into P11, attacking the McLaren driver. I pretty much writ Leopard off getting any points, and all of a sudden he's in P10. Meatball attacking up the inside again. His hard compound tyres are a decent one to be on. Matthew dropping down behind the other Ferrari, but Leopard holding place at the moment.
Ah, wow, dream start from Leopard. A masterclass from him on that restart, managing to avoid all the chaos, which was absolutely crucial for him. Wilson, he's the great start. He's managed to pull away from all of this chaos. He's looking further back. This could all just start to kick off once again. Lap 22 is approaching now. And let's see what it has in store. It's two Ferraris going at it. Coming into turn one, they go Choco. He's going to lose the position out to Akos as well. Though. Look at Matthew. He's gone down the inside. It could be 2 and 1 as well on the exit of the corner. Coming round the outside of turn 2. What can he do, Matthew? Round the outside into the S section they go. It's side by side through here. You don't see that often. And there you have it. Akos. He's backed up. But what a move that was from Matthew. Up into P3 he goes.
Matthew, where has this been all season? Oh, what is going on in the background? Piccolo up to P5, Pisty 6, Choco down to 7, and there's Choco being forced off the track. Oh my goodness. Leopard up into P9, up the inside of Choco. I was going to say, Matthew, where has this been all season? But this race has gone into overdrive. We've had a little bit of a quiet one, then all of a sudden it's just banged itself out.
Yeah, it's all kicked off pretty quickly. Just looking at Choco as well. He's still trying to get stuck in. He's not had enough yet. That's a Red Bull and Leopard going down the inside of nearly 2 cars there. Leopard, he's trying to get stuck in. He's trying to make the most of that unfortunate safety car going round the outside of Choco. Those extra fresh tyres are definitely looking better, aren't they, compared to Choco's slightly older mediums. And there you have it. I think that should be Leopard up into P8. So Leopard, he's really looking good on this restart.
What are we what are we witnessing right now? Matthew have an amazing second half of this race. So is Leopard. Otis Lawrence picks up a 3-second time penalty. However, he's the fastest man on the track. I wonder if Wilson going to start to turn on the on the afterburners a little bit and try and get into it. But look at all these cars all battling away. Leopard close to half, Choco dropping down a little bit. He had an absolute storm of a start and getting things, well, getting in the way, I think is the best way to describe it. Piccolo dropping away from Akos, but he's still got Pisty for company behind, with DRS now available now as well. These guys, we don't really know who's going to get points at this rate.
No, we do not. A few penalties as well into the mix. Otis Lawrence, did he pick up a penalty as well? Have we missed that one? Amongst all the chaos, so Otis Lawrence with a 3-second time penalty, so that is not going to do any good for him, but 2.67 second gap might just give him a bit of breathing space. But yeah, just keep an eye out on that one for Otis, because he's made his life a little bit harder there with that extra added 3 seconds.
I don't know really where to look right now. Pat Leisure attacking Choco. What has happened to Choco? Maybe he's got damage, but he's just got no pace all of a sudden. He's pushing the FGE driver out wide. Halo being attacked by Andrea as well. Kevin getting past Andrea in the end, but Pat Leisure getting into P9, and Choco trying to continue around the outside. There's a yellow flag in the background. I think that's the ETE driver. Choco up the inside of the Aston Martin driver this time, pushing him out wide a little bit. Still side by side as they go through the triple right-hander.
Yeah, it's great driving from the two of them there, and in the end I think it just has to come to a bit of an end. But Pat Leisure into P9 equals in Choco. He's not having a good time of things again, once again. Not really got the pace there, and then it's Passy all over the back of him as we come into the final corner contact from Justin behind. So Passy's had to go off now. It's Amini who's managed to go through, and he sneaks himself up into P11. So even more contact there. Looking further back, and we're just looking as well as that Akos and Piccolo going at it. This is for P4. Piccolo, he's in P4 at the moment, but Akos, he doesn't want that to stand for much longer. He's all over the back of him now, coming through the S section, but not too much you can do through there. As it stands, Piccolo, he stays in that P4 position.
I think that was actually for P4. Piccolo was ahead, I'm certain of it. So it must have been a long-standing move, and Akos and Piccolo moving away. Leopard getting past Harb as well, and the two Shizou drivers all of a sudden in a really good sort of position for points. Leisure pulling away from Choco. He's P9, and I think what is the penalty situation? It's only 3 seconds, but if he can eke some time out onto Harb, he's going to get higher up. And look at this, Akos being passed by Pisty, and Akos has 6 seconds worth of penalties.
Oh wow, not looking too good for Akos, but it's not going to bother him now, or is it? He's going to back off from that move there. And Mercedes a P8, he stays in P5 now. Akos is in 2 positions, and there's the 1 lap now. And Akos, the ability to try and get after is now the Red Bull of Piccolo. Just looking at Leopard as well. Those fresh mediums are looking pretty good and good. They go down the inside of the Ferrari of Akos. Can Akos doing anything in defence? It doesn't look like it, and Leopard is absolutely flying in those fresh mediums. Up into P6 he goes.
Can we see Leopard get a podium? He's absolutely fine. Look at Harv as well, up the inside of Akos, and Akos is falling dropping like a stone. And at the moment, Akos could lose his point scoring position because of his penalty situation. Ledger is in a real good position right now because he's definitely going to get P8 if it stays like it is and the timing is exactly like it is.
Yeah, definitely, because it's definitely a possibility. Look at P10 at the moment as well. I mean, versus Choco. Choco still defending for his life. It's been non-stop for him these last couple of laps, but in the end, he can't do much there. Choco still staying with P10, but with those penalties, it looks like those points will be going to Min. But listen, 3 laps to go, a lot can still happen.
Pisti is under immense pressure from Leopard. He was trying to attack Piccolo, but Leopard sees his teammate in trouble and gone, you know what, this is all about me. I'm trying to get these points, leave my teammate alone. And yeah, it's incredible stuff right now. Piccolo's 3 seconds behind Matthew, who is 5 seconds behind Wilson, who is 3.8 seconds behind the race leader and the champion of both Tier 1 WR and of here. But here comes Pisti up the inside of Piccolo. This time around, it looks like it's an easy go there. And I wonder if Shizou will do orders again to let Leopard through because he's on that fresher compounder tyre.
Oh, just looking as though Justin at spun in the battle for P10. Choco, he's still in the walls as the man goes down the inside. He forces the Ferrari off track. Justin, unfortunately, he's a bit of an innocent bystander in it all, an innocent casualty, I should say. He's a man off into P10, past it. He's trying to get stuck in as well. We've got Meat Burrow as well in P14. He's just watching the chaos unfold in front of him. But in the end, I think it's a man who does come out the winner of that. And Choco, I think he might be with a few unhappy messages at the end of this race.
Yeah, very much so, as Piccolo under threat from Harv behind. Harv is doing a good job today. What a race he's had. And the Shizou team have swapped them around because I think Piccolo realises that Leopard is definitely in for a chance for P4 here as things stand, because he is absolutely flying right now. Akos dropping like a stone, but he's still pulling away from a little bit from Pat Leisure. Amin, I don't think is going to have enough laps in the race to catch the FGE driver, which is going good at the moment. Passy and Choco battling away with Kevar in there as well, but Kevar has a handful of penalties to his name, but will stay on board a Leopard as he looks to attack FRA Pisti. And I wonder if he waits a couple of laps and doesn't overtake straight away, because it's getting into the tactical stage of this game now.
Yeah, it certainly is, but it doesn't look like it. Does it? Coming down the inside he goes. Not too much of a defence there from Pisti. He just knows maybe it's not worth it just this early on. As you said, possibly a tactical element coming into it. Maybe just happy to sit off and wait for the time being. But as it stands, it's Leopard up into P4. And
Harv getting past Piccolo as well. Akos is getting himself back into the swing of it as well. Maybe just found his composure a little bit, but let's look at it from a Leopard point of view. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's got 2 laps now to make sure he stays ahead, or because he doesn't. If he loses one place, he could lose 2 places because Harv is that close.
Yeah, he can. It's like a domino effect, isn't it? We've seen it quite a few times throughout this race. That when you caught up in a battle, it could definitely go one way or another. You can gain a few, but you most certainly lose a few as well. Do want to mention Matthew and Wilson, a fantastic race from these 2 guys. They are literally in a world of their own. Obviously, Otis Lawrence out in front as well, but something that we kind of come to expect from him. But Wilson and Matthew on for 2 great results, respectively, for their teams.
You do wonder if Matthew didn't have the battling away that he had early doors after this safety car, whether he would be up there with Wilson like he was at the start of this race. It looks like, unfortunately, Matthew, even though it was his own fault for spinning, that he just didn't have the luck again on his side. But 6.2 seconds, with everything being said and done, it's not too bad, the distance between the 2 of them. But here comes Leopard. He's pulling away from Pisti down the back straight, but that will change. But is Harv going to attack Pisti here? He gets close, but I don't think it's close enough on this occasion.
No, it doesn't look like it. And Leopard, it looks like he's just got the pace in those mediums. Maybe he's still a bit too quick for the rest of the grid now. And I think Leopard, I'm pretty sure now with 1 lap to go, that P4 is pretty much his.
Pat Leisure, look at that, 4.9 seconds, flirting with the 6-second penalty that Akos has. He's got to be careful because Amin is catching him at a rate of knots as well. And Amin, talking about people who've had bad luck, the Novus Racing team have had a fair bit of bad luck, but Matthew's going to, avenge that with that 3rd place finish. Otis Lawrence has already well past turn 1 by the time Harv was going around the final corner. We are on the final lap here at World Online Racing Legacy Division. And Wilson 5.23 seconds behind. Let's. I think Harv is the only one that's gonna try something.
Yeah, it does look like it. I was a bit of a slow burner of this race as a whole, but wow, it's delivered in the last kind of 6-7 laps or so. Harv with that penalty, so not too much in terms of track position, but I think a few positions can definitely be won or lost on this final lap. But by the looks of things, Harv maybe just doesn't have the legs to try and make any sort of move, so I think maybe slightly anticlimactic in terms of these top 5 positions being sorted.
Does the DRS open for Pisty ahead? Did he get the... no, he didn't. Pisty didn't get the DRS from Leopard ahead. Will Harv try anything up the inside, or is he just going to play it safe and stay behind? I think he's going to play it safe and stay behind for now. Gets very close to the back end. Pat Leisure will hold that. Passy has dropped off. I think he's made a mistake at turn 11, or maybe got himself into trouble there. But it will be very rude of me not to do this. Let's go on board with Otis Lawrence as he crosses the line to take yet another victory here at the Legacy Division. PSR Wilson going to come home in P2 with Matthew with his return. Just keeping an eye on the Harv's time there. He's very close to the end of back end of Pisty. Matthew will be P3. Leopard crossing the line in P4. What a recovery drive from LCR Leopard and the Shazoo team. And across the line, Pisty and Harv side by side. It looks like Piccolo will claim P6 and Shazoo have had a fantastic race in the end here when it looked pretty doom and gloom.
Yeah, they absolutely have. It's huge in terms of their prospects for a P3 title charge. And the constructors are main rivals for that. VSR 10th and 12th just shows you there. Big night there for Shazoo, and they'll be happy with how that one played out. Amendia gets P9 then, Pat Leisure P8 by the way. Great results from them. And we had to mention Harv as well on P7. Great stuff from him, a great race from him. And yeah, great results all round from those guys respectively.
Another lot of points there for FGE, slowly building their way up. But I think Novus could they? Oh, they'll get close to jumping them. Piccolo's points in P6 won't do enough to jump FGE. But not Piccolo. Matthews and Amin's points alone won't be enough to make them jump. But it's looking very tasty in that midfield battle. We pretty know what's going to happen for who's going to finish first and second. The battle for P3 is quite hot, but the battle for P5, I think there's 5-6 teams that are in it. I'll give you a little bit of time to decide who you think should be driver of the day. I think the game's given it to Harv. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that quickly as we view the a familiar sight. Otis Lawrence on top of the world once again. Chat, what do you think? What do you reckon on driver of the day as well? As we run down the order, it's Otis Lawrence with a 3-second time penalty. Still managed to finish 3 seconds in front of PSR Wilson. Matthew rounding out the podium positions there with Leopard with an incredible drive back after heartbreak at the safety car. Pisty in 5th place, 6th place going to Piccolo. Harv in 7th, Black Leisure in 8th, 9th to Amin Akos in 10th place. Renz, who I didn't see in qualifying, and I don't think I said anything about in the race, finished 11. I don't even know who he is, so I do apologise. Choco in 12th, 13th to Meatball, Halo in 14th, 15th to Passy, Justin in 16th, Sav in 17th. Completely forgot about him at the end, and that's such a shame for him. Keva in 18th, Andrea in 19th, with Antsmaz not getting a finish there because of the and causing the safety car as well. Let's just remind you there. But anyway, Callum, I've waffled on enough. Over to you for who you think should be driver of the day.
I'm going to go for LCR Leopard, and I think obviously P4 is a great result for him, but also I think the way you get it is an important thing as well. And I think obviously maybe the poor qualifying, the poor start, and he was nowhere near that area, and he took the risk staying out long. He got the safety car, but then it kind of slapped him in the face a little bit, and he fell back down. It was at P15 he was in the safety car restart, but he navigated it so well. He just picked his moves fantastically, and I think he just showed how good his racecraft really was tonight, and I think I thoroughly deserved P4, and then yeah, that's why he's my driver of the day.
That's not a bad shout at all. I would be hard pressed not to agree with you on that one. Leopard showed, I think it was P15, pretty much down and out, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's right in there. Yeah, that's yeah. Just checking on the chat. Apparently, the guy in the other Alfa Romeo wasn't even meant to be there, but interesting nonetheless. I mean, we'll see if we can get anyone into it, but for podium questions. But ideas for final words from you, and how you thought that race went, because initially I don't think it was the greatest race in the world.
No, I think you're spot on. I was a little bit bored myself watching it. You thought it's one of those ones that was field was really spread out tonight. We don't normally see that often, but yeah, I think a safety car is all it needs in F1 in real life, but especially in league racing. It all kind of kicked off. Choco, I think, an instigator of many of the incidents tonight. I don't want to put the blame on him, but I think it was pretty obvious at points. The one at turn one was ridiculous, wasn't it? We had so many cars going side by side and so many people spinning off. So yeah, a little bit of a touch of controversy as well, which we did ask for at the start. So yeah, good race as a whole, and get some great drives in amongst of it all as well.
Now, obviously, we've got that break week next week, and I will show the calendar one last time, and then it's Canada. Canada being a fantastic track, but not always seen the best league racing track. Do you think these guys are definitely in a chance of throwing up something special in 2 weeks' time?
And I certainly think they are. I think Canada can be good, but I also can be pretty brutal to watch as well. But I think it always can bring a bit of controversy. Penalties are a huge factor around there, probably the worst track for it on the calendar. But now, with just 3 rounds to go now, FRA, they cannot be far off winning this Constructors now. So yeah, in 2 weeks' time, it could be all over in terms of that Constructors charge, or that Constructors Championship for FRA.
Fantastic. Well, we won't go to podiums this week. We'll stick where we are. That last 8 laps has been one of the best. If that was a sprint race, that would be phenomenal. Just those last 8 laps. I'm sure you'd agree with me on that one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. It really gave us something to shout about, and definitely gave us worthwhile for commentating that one. And yeah, it just shows you how crazy it can be at points. And yeah, definitely enjoyed those last couple of laps of the race.
Fantastic. Well, from myself, thank you all for watching. It's been a very, very interesting one. A little bit of controversy. What a surprise. But it's exactly what we would not what we always want to see, but it always adds a little bit of spice to it as well. I'm sure people appreciate it as well. But for me, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back on Monday night for the Brazilian WOR Tier 1 race. I believe I still have Ryan with me. Yourself and I, Callum, will be back on the 2nd for WOR for World, and that's Canada. We've already mentioned that. But will you be back next week in the comms box for WOR?
Yes, I will. Tier 2 on Tuesday night. It's a big one. It's a championship finale for Tier 2. We are finishing a season a week early, I should say, and we've still got a championship on the line. I think it's FRA Stonks. It's a man in the drive-in line. So yeah, Tuesday night, 8 PM. Be there, because I think it should be a pretty good one.
Yeah, if I remember, I was watching. It was Mexico, and it was a very, very entertaining first 5 or 6 laps for that one. But for now, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But don't forget to keep on the WR Twitter to see all the action that will be happening. But thank you for now, and goodbye. Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row. Danny Bears wins on debut.
After returns to winning ways for WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the title.
Goes past the safety car.
What has gone on here?
Bowman spins. Stunning move from the Spaniard.
He's taken out Rambo.
Here comes Longy.
We're going 4 wide down to turn 1.
Oh, he's taking him out.
The captain Rogers collide. Sonic to the inside.
Shadow wins the Brazil. Absolutely sensational.